Revealed, the incredible journey of the bullied ugly girl who became a beautiful billionaire at just 16. In the quiet heart of Cedar Grove, where the main street sprawled out like a lazy cat on a sunny porch, lived Lily, an ordinary girl trapped in a life that felt haunted. At 16, her reflection told a story of unremarkable features: frizzy brown hair, round glasses, and clothing hand-me-downs that seemed to swallow her whole. Each day at school was a rehearsal for torment. Her classmates expertly crafted a symphony of laughter and jeers that echoed in her ears long after the bell rang. It was exhausting, like carrying a mountain on her fragile shoulders, yet home was different. Lily found solace in her grandmother, a war veteran with a spirit as unyielding as an iron wall. Her grandmother's soft voice, rich in stories of resilience, wrapped around Lily like a warm blanket. "Hard work and integrity, Lily. That's what will carry you through the storm," she would say, her eyes twinkling with unshakable faith in the world. Those words planted seeds in Lily's heart, whispering hope amid despair. The air in Cedar Grove was thick with fryer oil and laughter from the local diner where she worked. Here, the padding beneath constant chatter felt warm, almost like a hug. But that comfort turned cold when her best friend, seeking the light of popularity, ditched her for the very bullies they once swore to stand against. The sense of betrayal sliced through Lily's heart, leaving her gasping for air. Alone again, she longed for something more, something to pull her from the shadows. Then, she stumbled upon the announcement for a prestigious business competition, a chance to showcase ideas that could transform lives. Heart racing, she felt drawn to it like a moth to a flame. But doubt crept in. Could she, someone deemed invisible, really find a way to compete with those who resembled the glossy magazine covers? The whispers of discrimination and financial hurdles loomed in her mind like a thick fog. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined, Lily poured her heart into the project. As she crafted her vision, she became a beacon of hope for others who felt just as invisible. Community members began to rally around her, inspired by her tenacity, a butterfly pushing through its cocoon. When a moment of vulnerability at a charity event led to a viral video, showing her authentic spirit, empowerment spread like wildfire among those once overlooked. At the gala celebrating her success, the air was electrified with tension as she came face to face with her former tormentors. The crowd hushed as she stood tall, her voice trembling but resolute. Could she confront her past, challenge their judgment, and redefine what beauty truly meant? In that charged silence, everyone wondered if Lily's newfound strength could banish the shadows of her childhood forever. The battle was just beginning, and her story was far from over. Would she finally embrace the transformation waiting for her? The ballroom shimmered under a cascade of golden lights, reflecting the anticipation and excitement of the evening. Lily stood at the center, nerves coursing through her veins like electricity. She could feel the weight of 1,000 eyes upon her, a roaring tide of judgment and expectation. As laughter erupted among her former classmates, she tightened her grip on the microphone. Would they ever see her as more than just a target? But the crowd wasn't there just to gawk. They were there to witness her moment. The flutter in her stomach shifted to something stronger, a spark of determination. She took a deep breath, letting the air fill her lungs like a shield against the nagging self-doubt. Memories of her grandmother's relentless encouragement surged back, filling her with warmth. "You are worth it, Lily," she whispered to herself, drawing strength from those words. With every step she took across the polished floor, the insecurities began to dissolve. Her evening gown, a beautiful blend of deep blue and shimmering silver, felt like an armor, transforming her into something more than the girl who had once hidden behind her glasses. It hugged her curves and flowed with the rhythm of her heartbeat, reminding her that beneath it all, she was ready to fight for her place in the world. "Hello everyone." Her voice rang out, quaking slightly but gaining stability as she pushed past the nerves. There was silence now, the kind that fills a room when hearts synchronize. "I want to share a story." Not just my story, but a story that belongs to all of us who felt invisible. And with that, she began to weave together tales of struggle and resilience from her life, painting vivid pictures with her words: the laughter of bullies, the sting of betrayal, yet also the fierce love of her grandmother and the drive ignited within her by the community's support. As she spoke, she looked out into the crowd and saw familiar faces twist from scorn to curiosity, even remorse. Perhaps they were finally starting to understand. Rising cheers and applause enveloped her like a warm blanket as she concluded her speech. Joy and tears mingled in her eyes, but she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just a victory. There was still an empty space within her, a question lurking beneath the surface. What if the past wouldn't just let go? What if her former friends couldn't change? As she stepped away from the microphone, a shadow fell over her. It was Linda, the popular girl who had once tormented her. A mix of shame and something else flickered in Linda's eyes. "Lily, can we talk?" she asked softly, almost hesitantly. The air thickened again, caught in a sudden hush that echoed the earlier tension. Lily's heart raced as she met Linda's gaze. Was this an apology, or a new manipulation? Would she choose to forgive, to move on, or would she let the past chain her heart? In that moment, everything hung in the balance. The crowd watched, breaths held, waiting for her response. Lily felt the weight of a life-changing decision pressing on her shoulders. Would she confront her past and risk being hurt again, or would she stand firm and guard her newfound strength? The opportunity for redemption rippled before her, the path uncertain and winding. What would she choose? Lily felt a storm brewing inside her. As she looked into Linda's eyes, she saw a hint of vulnerability, something she hadn't expected. There was a flicker of regret, almost masked by a layer of anxiety. It sent a surge of conflicting emotions through her: compassion, or maybe even fear. Linda's voice cracked slightly, almost as if she was afraid of the words that would follow, and the crowd grew still, straining to hear what came next. Perhaps it was the shared history, or the raw honesty in the room, but for a fleeting moment, Lily felt a connection. Memories of their childhood flashed before her, the laughter, the moments they had shared before everything turned sour. But those moments were buried deep beneath a mountain of hurt. "Can we go somewhere private?" Linda asked, glancing around as if the room was suddenly too small for them both. Lily's mind raced. 100 scenarios played out like a movie in her head, each one a potential disaster. But there was a strength in her that hadn't been there before. She could feel it pulsing through her, pushing her to take the leap. "All right," Lily said, her heart pounding, her breath steadying. "Let us talk." They stepped away from the crowd, moving towards an alcove draped in soft fabric and fairy lights, a quiet corner away from prying eyes. It felt strangely intimate, and yet so very fraught with tension. Linda shifted from foot to foot, her gaze cast downward. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said," she started, her voice small. "About feeling invisible, about feeling like you don't matter. I'm sorry for everything." Lily struggled with the memories of being mocked, being taunted, and yet, there was something sincere about Linda's tone. "Sorry doesn't change the past," she replied coolly, but her heart thudded with something close to hope. "I know. I was caught up in being popular, in fitting in. I didn't see you. But I see you now." Linda's voice was a genuine whisper, layered with emotion, every fiber in Lily's being wanted to scream, wanted to push Linda away, to tell her she didn't deserve forgiveness. But looking at Linda now, it was hard to keep her guard up. "Why now?" she asked, an edge creeping into her voice. "Why after all this time?" "Because I've changed," Linda replied, taking a step forward, her eyes glistening under the ballroom lights. "We all have." Suddenly, the memories of their past and visions of their present intertwined. Could it be possible that Linda had genuinely transformed? Did Linda even realize how much damage had been done? Lily felt torn between anger and understanding. The weight of her decision loomed heavily. Should she extend a branch of forgiveness? Would acknowledging Linda's change require her to reopen old wounds? As the air hung heavy with uncertainty, Lily inhaled deeply, her chest tight with the weight of this moment. Would she reclaim her narrative? Could she allow herself to be vulnerable again, or would trust dissipate like smoke? Maybe I can't erase the past, Lily finally said, each word resonating in the quiet space between them. But I'd like to try. Maybe we both need to start fresh. The tension lifted slightly, but the storm inside Lily still raged. Would this truly lead to healing, or would it crumble beneath the weight of old grudges? Before she could dwell on it any longer, a loud cheer erupted from the main hall, snapping both girls back to the present. What awaited them back in the ballroom? Would they face the crowd together, or would fear push them apart again? Lily's heart raced. The next choice loomed before her: an invitation or isolation. Which direction would she take? Lily took a deep breath, her heart thudding in her chest as she pulled back slightly and looked at Linda. The moment felt suspended in time, a fragile bubble that could burst with the slightest movement. She could hear the lively chatter and laughter from the ballroom, the rhythm of the night pulsing like a heartbeat. It felt like a world away, filled with possibility and connection but also shadowed by the past. Okay, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Let's go back. Linda's face brightened, and for the first time in what felt like ages, Lily caught a glimpse of the girl she once knew, a girl who loved fun and friendship before the fray of adolescence twisted everything into competition and judgment. As they stepped out of the alcove, the light from the ballroom spilled over them, almost embracing them in its warmth. Once inside, they were met with curious stares. The whispers started immediately, ripples of intrigue spreading as the crowd took in the sight of the two former rivals now walking side by side. Lily's stomach knotted with nerves, but she matched Linda's stride, forcing herself to hold her head high. Do you think they'll understand? Lily asked, her voice low, half expecting judgment to come crashing down on them. Linda glanced at her, eyes soft yet determined. They might surprise you. People talk, but they also change. Just like us. The two girls moved further into the crowd. Lily could feel the beat of the music thrumming through the floor, reverberating in her chest. She wanted to dance, wanted to feel free again despite the weight of their history pressing down. Suddenly, Linda grabbed her hand, weaving through the crowd. Come on. Let us get a drink, then we can dance. Lily hesitated, feeling the allure of the dance floor drawing her in, but the ghosts of memories were still here, painful echoes of laughter redirected at her, the sting of sarcasm, the looks exchanged when she had stumbled or faltered. Why are you still holding back? Linda's voice broke through her thoughts. Let go of the past. Just be you. With a jolt, Lily felt the truth in those words. Be her. The thought wrapped around her heart, teasing it into opening. She could try. And maybe, just maybe, she could enjoy this night despite the history that hung between them like a thick fog. They reached the table, and as they poured drinks, Linda kept talking, sharing funny stories from their school days, recalling moments of kindness they had both forgotten. It was strange, how laughter and time can link hearts broken by misunderstanding. As they slowly found their rhythm, feet moving instinctively to the beat, the crowd began to fade away. For that moment it was just them, two girls rediscovering their shared past, chuckling over silly decisions and old camps. Suddenly, a group of familiar faces approached, their smiles torn between surprise and delight. Hey, we were looking for you. One of them called out, eyes darting between the two friends. Lily's pulse quickened, and for a heartbeat, her thoughts spiraled. Would they accept this new version of her? Would they let her step away from old labels? And as if reading her mind, Linda squeezed her hand, grounding her. Together, she said softly. But just as they felt the rush of hope, the vibe shifted. A voice piped up from the back of the gathering, cutting through the moment like a knife. What a surprise. I didn't think you'd be brave enough to come here, Lily. Lily's heart dropped. Cold sweat crept up her spine as she recognized the speaker. The familiar squeeze of anxiety tightened around her. How would she face the past now? Would she stand tall or retreat back into the shadows? The moment of truth hovered just overhead, and Lily knew she had to decide. What would she do next? Would she confront the voice that haunted her, or would she summon the courage to rise above? Lily's throat felt tight, like a vice grip of anxiety threatening to suffocate her. The laughter of the crowd faded, replaced by the drumbeat of her own heart. Each pulse echoed in her ears as she faced the source of that biting comment. Standing there was Tessa, her old nemesis, clad in an outfit that screamed confidence. Tessa's smile was sharp, and her eyes glinted with mischief. Behind her, a few of Tessa's entourage snickered, their amusement palpable. Lily's anger sparked. But Linda's hand remained firmly wrapped around hers, a lifeline amidst the sea of uncertainty. With a deep breath, Lily's heart steadied. This was what she had come here for, to be herself and to rise above the shadows that had followed her. Brave enough? Lily's voice broke through the chatter, stronger than she felt. Bravery is about stepping into who you are, not hiding behind someone else's judgment. The crowd's energy shifted. Whispers mingled with gasps, and a few onlookers began to nod, as if witnessing a transformation. Tessa's smirk faltered, surprise flickering across her face for just a moment. Cute comeback, but it won't change anything, she shot back, confidence still clinging to her like perfume. Who do you think you are? Just some girl with a past? Maybe, Lily replied, summoning more strength with each word. But I'm also someone who is learning to accept herself. And that scares you. The challenge hung in the air, potent and electric. Tessa's facade wavered, and Lily saw the hint of insecurity behind her bravado, a crack in the armor. Well, good for you, but don't expect a fairy tale ending. Life isn't like that, Tessa retorted, trying to reclaim the upper hand, but her tight expression betrayed her. Lily's heart surged. Life is what we make it. I'm ready to be more than what you think of me. There was a pause where time felt suspended again, a shared moment of realization. The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, whispers of surprise mingling with admiration. Linda leaned in, her eyes shining. That's right, Lily. Show them how far you've come. And in that moment, surrounded by the noise of others, Lily felt a warmth bloom in her chest, a blooming flower rising from seeds of myriad experiences, memories painted with laughter and hurt alike. She wasn't that scared girl in the back of the room anymore, she was stepping into her truth. What's next, Lily? Someone asked from the crowd, and the question hung in the air, inviting curiosity. Lily took one last breath, her focus shifting back to Tessa. Next. I'm dancing like I own this place. With that, she turned to Linda, eyes sparkling like stars, and pulled her toward the dance floor. They wove through the crowd, ignoring the intrigued expressions that followed, as the rhythm of the music thrummed beneath their feet. In every step, she felt lighter, as if shedding old layers that no longer served her. As they reached the dance floor, the surrounding energy shifted. This time, there was no room for judgment, only the freedom to express themselves. But just as they began to sway, the music faded slightly, the crowd parting to reveal a figure pushing through the last person she expected to see. Her breath hitched in surprise. Would he recognize her? Would he see the girl she had become or the girl she had once been? Everything within Lily froze as she faced him, standing just steps away. What would happen next? Would he pull her deeper into her past, or would she find strength in this unexpected reunion? The crowd around her felt like a tidal wave, and for a moment, Lily lost her footing. There he was, Josh, the boy from her past who had painted her world in shades of gray back in high school. His presence sent her mind spiraling, a swirl of memories crashing over her like an unexpected summer storm. She remembered the hesitant looks, the whispers in hallways, the laughter at her expense. It had taken years to shake off that weight and to discover who she truly was beneath it. But now, standing before him, so many emotions raced through her, anxiety, fear, and even a flicker of resentment. Lily? His voice was low, almost tentative, as if he were afraid she would vanish if he spoke too loudly. She tightened her grip on Linda's hand, grounding herself against the flood of memories. Was this the moment she had dreaded or the moment she had yearned for? Stealing her spine, she could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins, a heady mix of anger and empowerment. Yeah, it's me, she managed, her voice surprisingly steady. His expression flickered from surprise to something softer. I didn't expect to see you here. You look different. Amazing. Lily could almost hear the crowd's collective intake of breath, the surprise spreading like wildfire. What had she expected, really? This was her chance to show that she wasn't that shy girl anymore who faded into the background. She was strong and vibrant, and irresistibly alive. Thanks, she replied, folding her arms slightly, a protective gesture. I've changed a lot since high school. I can see that. You seem happier. The honesty cut deep and made her heart race. Did he see through her smiles, through the confidence she cultivated? Did he sense the shadows that still lingered? For a moment, there was silence between them, a tension that felt electric. The dance floor faded away, the music barely a whisper as the crowd's chatter became a distant hum. Lily caught glimpses of judgment and whispers out of the corner of her eye, but she focused on Josh. Why did you come here tonight? The question slipped from her lips, almost before she could stop it. She needed to know, was he here to gloat, or was he genuinely curious about her life now? There's a reunion for some of us, he replied, glancing away momentarily as though he was scrutinizing the flashing lights, the swirling crowd. I thought I'd check it out. I didn't realize he met her gaze. I didn't know you'd be here like this. Lily's heart ached, a strange mix of relief and confusion. Was he here to make amends, or was this all just another game in their never-ending rivalry? She was no longer that girl who sought validation through the approval of others, but a part of her still wondered if he had finally recognized her worth. Things are different for both of us, she said slowly, savoring the strength in her voice. I'm on my own path now and happy with who I've become. Good for you, he replied, and this time, it sounded genuine. But through the swirling energy of the crowd, Lily sensed the danger in this moment. Could she truly leave the past behind with Josh's presence here? The music picked up again, catchy and infectious, but her heart raced with uncertainty. She could either dance away and forget this encounter or confront the ghosts that lingered in the corners of her heart. Before she could decide, Josh took a step closer, the intensity of his gaze inviting a deeper conversation. Lily, the sound of her name vibrated in the air, heavy with unspoken words. What would he say next? Would it break her newfound strength, or would it propel her forward? The stakes had never felt higher. Lily, his voice hung in the air, rich with expectancy. The crowd around them blurred, muffled by her rapid heartbeat. She could feel the warmth of anticipation creeping up her neck. What is it, Josh? She challenged lightly, her brows knitting together. She wanted answers, but the slight tremor in her voice revealed a flicker of vulnerability that she struggled to hide. Can we step outside? It's kind of loud in here, he suggested, his eyes darting around as if searching for a quieter space amidst the chaos. There it was again, the invitation. A push and pull that left her torn between curiosity and an instinctive urge to flee. Why do you want to talk to me? She said, a little more defensively than intended. Her pulse raced. She was not about to let him off the hook so easily. Because I owe you some honesty, he said, his expression serious, genuinely earnest. I messed up back then, and I've thought about it every day since. She inhaled sharply, caught off guard. The raw honesty in his eyes was disarming, almost disorienting. Memories of their shared laughter, the easy times before high school turned ugly, flickered through her mind. But those memories were interconnected with pain. Pain she was still learning to navigate. Honesty? She replied, an incredulous smile creeping onto her face. What's honesty worth now? You think it can change what happened? Josh frowned, stepping closer until he wanted to bridge the distance between them. It's worth all I can give. It just matters. You matter. The simplicity of his words pierced through her defenses, forcing her to confront the lingering hurt. He once held the power to hurt her more than anyone else, and now he stood before her, stripped of that power, genuine. Let's just get this over with, she finally said, her voice steadier than before. If you want to talk, let us go outside, but you better be ready to face what you have to say. He nodded, relief washing over his features. Together, they maneuvered through the tightly packed crowd, stepping out onto the dimly lit balcony. The cool night air swirled around them, providing a welcome reprieve from the stifling energy inside. "Wow, it's beautiful out here," he breathed, looking up at the stars. "I always loved it when you looked at the skies." "Yeah, it used to make me feel small in a good way," she admitted, leaning against the railing, staring into the horizon. "But your barbs made me feel small in the worst way." The silence lingered as they each took in the expanse of the night. Josh shifted, and any confident edge he had seemed to dissipate. "It was wrong," he started, not meeting her gaze. "The jokes, the looks, it was all wrong. I thought it was harmless, just something to fit in, but I was wrong. Every day, I felt guilty, I was just too afraid to show it." Lily could see the genuine regret etched in his features, but her heart remained cautious. "Why now, Josh? Why come back now, years later? You thought about it every day, and yet because I just didn't know how to apologize," he interrupted, urgency cutting through his voice. "And I thought you were happier without me. But seeing you here tonight, I can't pretend it doesn't matter anymore." There was a vulnerability in those words that pulled at her heart amidst the anger and hurt. "You think this is easy for me? For years, I've worked to shed the weight of your words. The girl I was, she needed you to see her worth. What if it's too late?" "It's never too late to change," he said, a flicker of determination in his eyes. "And I just want to be honest about everything I've carried since then." With each heartbeat, the night felt thicker with possibilities and unresolved feelings. But could she let go of the past enough to explore the sincerity that shimmered in his gaze? Or would she close the door on a chance to rewrite their story? "Lily," he started again, stepping forward slightly. "I need you to know," but before he could finish, another mingled voice broke through the night, shattering the moment's tension and leaving questions unasked and unfulfilled. "Hey, Lily. You in there?" It was Linda. Her voice bright and sunny, cutting the air with casual familiarity. Lily glanced back at Josh, her heart in turmoil. This encounter had changed the landscape of her mind drastically, but what now? Would this be the moment that opens up a new chapter for both of them? Or merely push them further apart amidst the noise of unresolved history? Yeah. She called back, without taking her eyes off Josh's. And just like that, with a world of unspoken words hovering over them, Lily knew a fork had appeared in her path, one that could lead to either reconciliation or finality. Perhaps the night held another surprise, something that would finally break the tension. But would they take that step together, or would the past define them? Lily's fingers tightened around the railing, feeling the cold metal dig into her skin. The noise from inside the party blurred like static in her mind, emotions colliding as she weighed her next move. Josh was only a breath away, and yet, with every passing second, it felt like a chasm opened between them, one filled with unspoken words and yearnings both tender and painful. "Sorry. We were looking for you," Linda chimed as she stepped onto the balcony, her vibrant energy crashing into the fragile moment. With a quick glance at Josh, she added, "Oh, hi, Josh. Didn't expect to see you here." "Hey, Linda," Josh replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. It felt like a rug had been pulled from under their fragile connection, the warmth of intimacy tossed aside by casual chatter. Lily's heart raced. She could hear it pounding in her ears. This was the moment. The defining fork. Would she allow this to turn into small talk, pushing Josh's honesty into the background again? Or would she seize this opportunity to confront the past together? "Actually, Linda," she said, faking a cheerful note that surprised even her, "Josh and I were just catching up." "That's nice," Linda said, oblivious to the tension. "We're thinking of playing some games inside. You should both join us." Lily hesitated, glancing back at Josh. His expression was mixed. Relief mingled with a quiet plea. "Maybe later?" he murmured, his gaze locked on hers, silently urging her to make a choice. "Yeah, maybe later," she echoed, and for a moment, she felt the weight of that word, a simple promise that held the potential for both connection and distancing. Linda, mercifully, excused herself, leaving them once again enveloped in the cool night air. The space between them felt electric now, charged with unresolved words. Silence wrapped around them, heavy but not entirely uncomfortable. "I don't want to overwhelm you," Josh said slowly, voice barely above a whisper. "But I need to tell you I've carried this weight for so long. It's exhausting." Lily's heart ached. "I understand exhaustion," she said softly, remembering all those mornings, the sharp memories pricking at her heart while she forced herself to smile in the mirror. "But now I don't know if I can afford to let you in again. You've shaped a part of me I'm still battling to distance myself from." "Lily, I know," he said, desperation creeping into his tone. "I know I hurt you. But I want to be better. I want you to see that I've changed." She shook her head. "Can a person really change? Change doesn't just happen, it takes hard work. Are you ready for that?" The vulnerability of her question dangled in the air. His gaze bore into hers as if searching for the right words. "I am. Whatever it takes. Because I've realized that I never really got to know you, the real you. I want that chance." "How do you know the real me?" She scoffed, though there was no heat behind her words. "You barely knew me when it mattered." "I thought I did," he rushed to say. "But I see that now. I was so focused on fitting in that I lost sight of what really mattered. And it was you." The words lingered between them, hanging in the night like stars just out of reach. Lily felt a lump form in her throat, the urge to cry threatening her composure. Was there still a chance to move past the pain? Could she redefine their story? But just as it seemed they were reaching for an understanding, laughter erupted from inside, drawing her attention back to the life bursting through the door. "Lily, come on." Linda's laugh echoed again, ringing with joy, an anchor pulling her back into the raucous celebration. Lily glanced at Josh one last time, the earnestness in his eyes battling against the tides of her self-protectiveness. "Just think about what I said," he urged, desperation creeping back into his voice. And in that moment, she faced yet another choice: step inside to the safety of familiarity or dive into the uncertainty with him. The night felt alive, electric with possibilities that swirled like autumn leaves in the wind. What would she choose? And how much longer could they stand here, teetering on the edge of a decision that could alter everything? She took a deep breath, the tension coiling tightly in her stomach. Maybe I will. But would maybe be enough to bridge the gap built over years of hurt? As she turned back to join the crowd, a new wave of hope and fear crashed together, leaving her grappling with the realization that the journey was just beginning. She paused before re-entering the noise, a stubborn flower pushing through concrete. Would her past and present clash, or would she find a way to weave them into something beautiful? Lily knew she was standing on the precipice of change, but would she be brave enough to leap? As Lily stepped back into the party, the lights dazzled and the laughter washed over her like a warm tide, but it felt unreal, almost a cruel contrast to the weight still clinging to her heart. She scanned the room, searching for the familiar faces, her friends who had come to support her through everything. Yet, none of them felt like a lifeline right now. Instead, her eyes flickered back to Josh, still standing on the balcony, hands shoved deep in his pockets, a figure lost in thought. He looked distant, but there was something in his gaze that pulled her back each time, an undeniable magnetism. "Lily." Linda's voice cut through her introspection, breaking her reverie. "We're playing charades. You have to join us." She managed a smile, nodding as Linda pulled her deeper into the chaos. But her mind was still back outside, with Josh. The taste of his sincerity lingered on her lips, an unfinished conversation swirling in her chest. The game started, and as each person mimed and laughed, Lily tried to engage. She cheered at the correct guesses, forced her laughter to resonate along with the others, but it felt like an act. A mask worn over too many vulnerabilities. Every joke and burst of laughter echoed in a hollow way, reminding her of the walls she'd built around herself. The further they got into the game, the more her conscience screamed for her to slip outside again. But then there was Linda, eyes shining, full of simple joy. Turning toward her friend, Lily caught a glimpse of what was at stake. She didn't want to hurt Linda, didn't he want to keep dragging her back into her tangled emotional mess? As the game ended and people broke into smaller circles, her mind wandered again. How could she move forward and still protect herself? How could she let Josh in without losing everything she had worked so hard to build? Hey, you okay? Linda's voice broke through, the concern etched on her face unmistakable. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind, she replied, forcing the edges of her smile upward. Want to talk about it? Linda prodded gently. Lily opened her mouth but closed it again. She couldn't burden Linda with the weight of her history, the unpredictable future that loomed. She shook her head instead. Let us just have some fun, okay? Alright, but I'm here if you need me, Linda said, squeezing her hand before joining a group gathered near the drinks. Lily sighed, feeling the familiar ache of isolation wash over her. The noise around her felt like a distant melody, a song sung by someone who didn't even know the lyrics. She glanced again at the balcony, and to her surprise, Josh was no longer there. Panic surged through her. Had he retreated out of frustration, or was he gone for good? Instinct took over, and she made her way to the door, careful not to bump into anyone. As she crossed the threshold, the cool air rushed back to her, tinged with the scent of night flowers. Josh! She called softly, her voice barely above a whisper. But the silence wrapped around her tightly, echoing back with disappointment. Then, she heard a soft shuffle, a footfall hidden in the shadows. Heart racing, she turned the corner of the balcony and stopped cold. There he was, sitting on the edge, lost in thought like a ship adrift at sea. What are you doing out here? She asked, her voice steadier than she felt. He looked up, his eyes catching the moonlight, vulnerable and raw. Waiting for you. I thought you might come. Why? So we can continue that conversation? She could hear the edge of insecurity creeping into her tone. Because I need you to know that I'm serious, Lily. I want to try. I want you, but it has to be real. No pretending. Her heart stumbled, caught between hope and doubt. And if I'm not ready for real? Then I'll wait. No pressure, just don't shut me out. Please. His plea hung in the night air, heavy with promise yet equally terrifying. She felt torn, grappling with the thoughts whirling like an autumn storm. Before she could reply, a sudden shout echoed from within the party, reminding her how easily this new connection could slip away. Into the night, with her breath caught in her throat, a million possibilities floated in her mind. What if? But before she could finish the thought, the night seemed to shift, and she felt ready to confront her fears head-on. The question was, in doing so, would she find what she was searching for, or would everything crumble again under the weight of their shared history? She stepped closer to Josh, her heart racing, ready to face the unknown together. But was either of them truly prepared for the path ahead? The stars twinkled above Cedar Grove, the air humming with anticipation and promise. Lily stood beside Josh, uncertainties swirling like leaves caught in a gust of wind. They shared a fragile silence, each holding the weight of the night like a treasure or a burden depending on how it unfolded. I need you to know, Josh began, his voice steady but laced with urgency. I've carried regrets like stones in my pocket. I've thought about us, the way we were, and I wish I could take it all back. But I can't. All I have is this moment to be honest with you. Lily's heart raced. His sincerity washed over her like warm sunlight, but she was still standing in the shade of doubt and fear. How could she move forward while still haunted by their past? Memories of laughter turned to disdain danced at the edges of her consciousness. They threatened to pull her back down, but the strength she had cultivated began to rise, urging her to confront what lay ahead. Change isn't easy, Josh, she said, her voice steady despite the tremors beneath. You hurt me deeply. And those scars they haven't healed yet. Every word felt like a small victory. She was claiming her truth, anchoring her resolve in the weight of her experience. That he nodded, understanding apparent in his eyes. I know. I can't change what I did. But I can promise you that I've changed. I want to show you who I've become, a person who values honesty, kindness, and you. The sincerity in his voice pierced through her defenses. Yet, doubt loitered in the recesses of her heart. Was this the moment to open up or to shield herself once more? A part of her still longed for secure walls, the barriers that had saved her from pain. "I fought through my own struggle," she continued, her voice softening. "I fought for my own place in the world, the way you didn't see me when it mattered. I can't let old patterns trap me again. I need to believe in this change." His expression hardened, determination flooding his features. "Let me show you. Give me a chance. I want to build something not rooted in the past, but in the present and future. We can take baby steps if we need to, but I want to be in your life." With each heartbeat, urgency flooded the air. Lily felt the gravity of the moment wrap around her heart. It was both terrifying and freeing. She took a breath, the cool night gathering courage through her veins. "Okay, I'm willing to allow you that chance. But it has to be real for both of us." Suddenly, the noise from the party erupted again, a rush of laughter, applause, and the clinking of glasses. The warmth of connection lingered, pulling at her. Maybe this was her moment to step into something new, to embrace hope instead of fear. "Let us not hide out here any longer," she said finally, smiling and feeling the weight of expectations melting away. "Let us face the crowd together." Josh's face lit up like a fireworks display, the tension thawing in an instant. "Together," he echoed, intertwining his fingers with hers, and as they turned back towards the sound of joy radiating from the party, Lily felt a spark igniting deep within her. Hand in hand, they re-entered the vibrant gathering. Laughter filled the room, infectious and bright, and the sight of familiar friends ignited a warmth in her heart. Linda spotted them first, grinning from ear to ear. "There you are. We've been waiting on you too." Encouragement welled within Lily, a chorus of support ringing around her, and she savored it like a sweet melody. "I think I'm ready to dance," she declared, her voice bold. As the music swelled around them, she twirled onto the dance floor, pulling Josh along. The crowd parted, and their friends erupted in cheers. With every step, Lily surrendered to the rhythm, celebrating the freedom of being seen, of accepting the new reality before her. In that enchanted moment, she felt alive, no longer the scared girl in oversized clothes, but a radiant presence glowing with possibility. They danced, surrounded by laughter, friends, and the beautiful chaos of their intertwining stories. "Who knew you had those moves?" Josh laughed, spinning her around. Lily rolled her eyes playfully. "Just you wait. There's a lot you'll discover about me." And with that, she whirled once more, embracing the dance, the new chapter ahead gleaming like stardust. This was her moment to embrace the colors of her past, the shades of her present, and the bright promise of her future. Together, they would face what awaited them, one step at a time, ready to carve a new path. The music pulsed, and the world spun in endless possibilities. They had reclaimed their story, and both Lily and Josh were finally stepping into the light, just like the beautiful blossoms that had always been waiting to rise from the depths of the earth. And as they danced, Lily whispered the words she'd always needed to hear. This was just the beginning, and it would be magnificent. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support really makes a difference. Comment below and share your thoughts about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey of strength and resilience. Show your support like a true fan.